Kids to bed, dad's home. We are the DWO podcast, representing the Dad World Order. I am the handsome head of the household, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. With me, as always, my dad team partner, Big Rig, Eric Meffy.
What's up?
And last but not least, he may look feral, but we promise he's housebroken. It is the wrestling t-shirt guy, Cephas.
What up, everybody? How y'all doing?
We're doing fantastic, sir. Excuse me. And with us tonight, you can see this is another edition of How the Heck Are You with the DWO podcast. We have Cam Carruthers and Patrick Alonzo of Men's Health Unscripted. Gentlemen, how the heck are you?
We are doing great. How are you guys' prostates doing tonight?
You know what? I haven't checked, so that's probably the reason I'm having you guys on here is to remind me of that.
Good to great. Good to great.
Hey, that's a great intro, Cam. We're doing good. Happy to be here because we love wrestling. We get a lot of questions about what it's like being a dad, and we're not dads, so we're not dads. You guys probably have some insight on that, and we're really happy to be here and promote guys taking better care of themselves and really acknowledging their mental health. To get all the nerd stuff out of the way, it is not a sign of weakness to acknowledge your health or your mental health. It is actually a sign of strength. And as you guys probably know, when you are there to be there for your family and loved ones, you're their rock. So be healthy, be strong for them.
I couldn't agree with that more, man. That's the type of stuff. The power of positivity is very strong. I think that this generation and the further generations are much better at sharing their feelings than, say, my parents' generation were.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely kind of coming down from, you look at post-World War II parenthood, dads were always like the stern, quiet type. And let's be honest, like you have the weight of that war kind of on your shoulders for life. So you can kind of see why that influences that. But at a point, as we kind of gotten further down the line, we're kind of a little more comfortable talking about these issues. Of course, the benefits that medical science has brought to us was the therapy and medications and all the other things in the world has kind of helped that along. But it's definitely important so we don't end up going off and, making a painting of our family on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So eloquently put
You put it like that.
Hey, we don't cut corners around here. That's why we put the kids to bed.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, 2021, I think the statistic was 80% of suicides were men. So
wow,
that is an alarming statistic, and it's something that we should be aware of as men. We should be aware of it for our kids, and as they grow, providing them with the mental health resources that they need in order to avoid this, because no parent wants to outlive their kid, especially for something that sad. So we're just out here promoting mental health and wellness. Hey, we tell some jokes every now and again, but at the same time, we want people to be aware that, you got to take care of this stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't want to cut too deep myself, man, but I suffered a great loss at 15 years old. There was a suicide in basically the room next to me, and it was somebody I idolized tremendously. And I think honestly, it's made me who I am in a way. It's made me it's made me the happy person that I am. It made me appreciate things. And I've kind of been steadfast in trying to spread positive mental health with my friends, man. So to hear you guys are on that mission, I love it, man. I like to see progress in this field because it desperately needs it.
Oh, yeah. It's always good to be able to check on your friends, too, because it's one of those kind of things where, unfortunately, our gender, we don't talk about it. And then one day you find out nowadays, a Facebook post, or you find out in the newspaper that someone someone to school with, someone you maybe served with has, ended their life. And it's leaving a family, leaving, loved ones behind. It's hard. Especially it's going to be hard for them because now they have to live this every day. We just had Memorial Day the other day, so it's one of those kind of holidays where, yeah, we have a 3-day weekend, we do barbecue, like, fuck yeah, it's America, do that. But it's always on the way to someone's shoulders, and it's not always about going away during wartime. A lot of people go on the way home. Myself, so I'm sure we'll get some background. I was in the Marine Corps, so I did two tours in Afghanistan, come back, and we got lucky. Lost none of our friends out there. None of my friends were gone from combat. It's all stuff at home they fought, and some of them had families. It's unfortunate it's happened, so it's good to check in on everybody, whether it be your neighbor, your roommate, whoever it may be. It's always good to kind of say, how you doing today?
Yeah, and that's insane. I personally have had my uncle and a cousin both off to war in the desert, and just knowing them before they went and then seeing how affected they were when they came back. I mean, they've kind of not evolved, but have bounced back since then. But you can just see when someone's shook like that, and just how devastating that is. And I can't even fathom what that's like.
And it's, again, luckily with medical science, you come back, the VA is definitely way better than it was, post Vietnam, as they kind of created it and started kind of laying how things were working. A lot of people, shit on it and talk about it, but honestly, it's good resources there for those of us who are coming back. I remember my first time being out there. We were probably like our first mission, and I saw this dude fucking a goat, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he's on the marriage. Like, I'm pretty fucking sure, but that thing sticks with you forever, Like, you don't forget that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's real. It's really real. They do it here.
It's not just a meme.
They have like they have a holiday where they'll paint patterns on their sheeps and their goats, and it had like purple polka dots, and this dude was just hammering on it. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
God.
But that's a lighthearted kind of stuff you see out there.
I really like polka dots.
You look good tonight. Mm-hmm.
Here, Dottie. Here, girl.
This fucker's not one of us. He said he'd fuck a sheep.
Hey, fucker.
Oh, man.
Off the rails, and we're not even 10 minutes in.
Yeah. I've known Cam for a few years now, and I don't think I've heard that story yet. It's like pretty awesome.
That's kind of how we created this thing. So me and Patrick are both pharmacists. We met in pharmacy school, obviously. Well, not obviously, but whatever. And we created a organization there, Men's Health, where there's I don't know if we can use like acronyms and names and stuff, but there's an organization that's like a national level organization that lends out to school level groups. And there's a bunch of groups for different stuff, diabetes, things like that. So we want to be different. So we're like, let's do Men's Health. And from day one, we just blew that shit out the water. And it's kind of how we kind of come out the gate running with things. We didn't stick to the regular, we're doing this, A plus B plus C kind of thing. Me and Pat just like shot for the moon immediately, and kind of grown into what we have now.
Yeah, it's something you can relate to and get behind. It makes it a lot easier to work with.
I think for me, I just realized, like, my grandfather, I was very close with him growing up. And what I realized is that when his health started to decline towards the end of his life, there was just such a lack of education. Like, he would say, oh, I have congestive heart failure. What does that have to do with my prostate? Like, kind of nothing, but for whatever reason, somebody told him something that connected the two, right? And so then trying to dispel the myths of what's going on, and then having these healthcare professionals come in and use all the jargon, and you leave, even if not more confused than you came in. So that was kind of one of the reasons for me that we started it. And plus, there's been times where people have called us like a horny cult because we do help guys with erectile dysfunction. I mean, like, how much attention from the time that you're 13 or that you hit puberty do you or other people pay on your dick? It's like, hey, you got a little dick, or, or it's like you don't last long in bed, or whatever the case may be. And then if you watch the news, or not the news, but like the media commercials, what is it? Dick pills, hair loss. That's all they care about. It's like, come on, guys. As men, we are so much more than dick pills and hair loss. And it's our job to dispel the dick pill, and all that stuff's great. Cosmetic or whatever, if it gives you more confidence, cool. But really, at the end of the day, we're so much more than dick pills and hair loss. And so it's
my
time
eyes
for a
are
change.
right here. They're not up
Right.
here. They're not down here.
Right.
That's a t-shirt.
Yeah. Eyes are big, guys. But I think a really funny story is when Cam and I kind of got the Operation Men's Health going when we were in pharmacy school. And kind of to go back to what you guys were saying a little bit is that now how men are starting to open up, and even women too, but men especially are starting to open up and discuss more of their internal feelings, emotions, going to therapy, getting mental health help. I think when we were in school, we would go to events, car shows, typical places where you would think the guys were at. We're like, hey, man, come over here and talk to us about your prostate.
That never worked.
How'd that go?
It never worked. We thought it was going to be great.
Was that a good opener?
We went to a bike rally, and
we said,
how's your ED?
And, there's dads there, like they had bedazzled jeans, all kind of stuff. And it was like the moms, the daughters, the wives, it was them saying, no, you guys need the men's health. Go over there and talk to them. And it was like, we're not giving you an exam on site. Just come get some facts,
And it wasn't like they were just saying it. Like there were sometimes wives dragging their husbands over to us. And like we just maybe have a quick conversation, give them a pamphlet. That's all they really, wanted to participate. But like the fact that they were dragging them over kind of sends a good message.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it just shows that at least for me, I know when I had, I would say, my probably deepest mental struggles, it was my family that helped me through it the most. I mean, I also did counseling and stuff like that, but if not for, my parents, my sisters, aunts and uncles, all of them, I mean, I have an amazing family support system, luckily, because I know not everybody has that. But if you do have that, listen to them, because they give a shit about you. And it means a lot that they were there for me and when I needed them most.
Yeah, Big Rig, thank you for sharing that too. Kind of to piggyback off you a little bit,
absolutely,
is something to think about is you live with yourself every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe those minor like bouts of depression or anxiety or stress or whatever the case may be, you live with it day to day. So you might not really recognize the side effects of what's going on. But the people that you're around can definitely tell a difference in mood or attitude or things like that. I'm not, saying you specifically, more so to the audience, but you're living with yourself every day, and the people around you can definitely tell, hey, something's a little bit off. So if they're, kind of telling you, maybe you should listen, just because it probably is affecting to them to some degree, or at least they notice a huge shift in behavior. And, we can all say all day, like, I'm fine, I feel like I always do. But, that day to day is really where it kind of gets lost until, you're months and years down the road.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be a hard pill to swallow, when you think you're A-okay and, somebody that, you love, and whether it be your family or your friends or whatever, like, hey man, you're off lately. Like you're always in a bad mood. You're always grumpy or mad or something like that. And you're like, God, I did not even realize like that was the case. Like I'm just kind of going through the motions day to day. Man, that can be hard, but being self-aware, of what you're feeling can be powerful as well. I know myself, having an awesome therapist and having just, for me, it was not necessarily having someone trained or something like that, but just having somebody who objectively listens and can kind of call you on your crap if need be, and you respect their opinion.
Oh, that's definitely a big point we like to also hit on every time we get there, Senor Magnificent. If you don't mind me asking, how many therapists did you go through, or did you at least try?
That was I had done some when I was a kid, just because of my situation growing up and stuff like that. They wanted to kind of help me learn my emotions, and maybe part of that did help me growing up, and not even realizing it. But this time around was just the first person I went to. I went in like, not like, hey, I'm just going to go to this person. I'm going to try them out. And the first person I had was easy to talk to, and I just kept going back.
Oh, that's beautiful. You definitely shit on the point I'm about to make, but
I was gonna say I only had one too, but
Damn.
mine was recommended from a family member, so I got lucky there too. Like I had a good reference. So please make your point, because we are obviously not good examples.
Damn. All right, so let's ignore these unicorns right here. But for most people, we already have a bad stigma on therapy, and most people will give it one shot, and they have like a rough experience, and then they give it up. And that's kind of a problem men have, especially. So a lot of people don't realize it may take a couple different therapists. You may have to kind of take some time to feel people out. And it's not always a one and done kind of thing. Like, it does take some time. And we're patient people, but we're also very impatient when it comes to things like that. So it's definitely a little bit of patience needs to be sprinkled on top of.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. I think I'm one of the people, I think it took me like 5 or 6 therapists that to find one I felt comfortable with and that also felt comfortable with me. I had to grow up kind of quick when I was a kid. And some of them were like, you're way too young to be dealing with these kind of issues. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not. So it's just everybody's lives are different. And so I think it's just kind of one of those things where we got to meet in the middle and understand if you are seeking out therapists and your first one doesn't work, please do not be discouraged or disheartened. There are plenty of good ones out there, and sometimes it takes some time. Or even like what Big Rig, he took the advice of a family member and found someone. So word of mouth is great because you can kind of really get a good grasp of what's going on with people that you know and people that you trust.
Can I make another point about therapists? So the one I went to was actually, I think she was considered a counselor. I don't know all the professional, like psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever, but don't like, if you're looking for one, don't like see like, oh, she's just a counselor, or she or he's just a counselor or whatever. They can't help me. Because you know what? Mine was awesome. She felt like a cool aunt that was just like sitting there listening to me. Like, you don't need the Freudian leather couch and all that crap. Like, some people like that. Other people, it depends on what you like. And for me, that was absolutely perfect. Like, she was an unbiased opinion. It was very home-like. It made me feel okay when I was talking to her. So, like, if you go by, oh, they don't have a whatever degree, just throw it out the window, because you can find some good ones out there.
Some of your best therapy can come from an old man you talk to. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Therapy is where you seek it out. You know what I mean? For me, don't get me wrong, I have people I talk to as well, but something that works a lot for me is because I'm people will tell you I'm quite a positive guy. I'm generally the happy guy in all the groups, and I generally stay that way a lot. But sometimes, and my daughter she's only 9, she don't quite understand it yet, but sometimes I'll turn on some old country songs that'll make me think of my grandpa or something, and I'll just kind of force myself to feel down a little bit, because I feel like it's important to balance your yin and your yang in a way, almost. That for me, music is a therapy. I'm able to, I don't know, like, I kind of enjoy shedding a tear listening to a song or so. You know what I mean? I kind of like it, man. If a song touches me enough to want to like feel emotion and actually shed a tear, I feel like it's good in a way. You know what I mean? So it's a silver lining to a cloud in a way, almost. I don't know. I think it's therapeutic in a way.
There are a lot of things, a lot of stuff. If there are things that you find joy with, even, if you get a little cry or something like that, but you're still finding joy, that's a good sign. I mean, that's seeking out the things that help. And I know not too long ago, and especially like I relate with the caring and love of my grandfather. I remember that dude, and like, man, I was like 6 years old, and that dude, he was in World War II. He taught me about gonorrhea. We were on the way to school, and he was just like, dude,
topic, man.
Burns.
He's like, I was in Paris, and me and my during the war, and he's like, me and my buddy were dating these girls, and then one of us started to burn and the other one didn't, and I was the one who got the penicillin shot and he didn't, and I was like, that's awesome, Grandpa.
I'm just saying,
grandfather was a whore.
I'm just saying, had they not named it that, gonorrhea would have been a great name for a diarrhea medicine. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
it would have been perfect.
Yes, it would.
It would have sold itself.
Yes, it's a huge missed opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Got diarrhea? More like gonorrhea. Writes itself. But that's another thing. Like, just to piggyback off of what those guys were saying. It doesn't always have to be therapy. I mean, it helps some people. Some people it doesn't. But you also, usually only get, a session a week, maybe something like that. You got to find those things that help you out throughout the week when you're not in therapy. And for me, that's this right here, honestly, wrestling, like that's something that I get to share with my daughter, and that means the absolute world to me. I mean, just getting on and, you know, playing video games, playing Xbox with my friends, you know, just stuff like that. It's, you know, a couple hours out of the day, but it's enough that it makes you feel all right, and that's something that I feel is very important, is finding, and it's different for everybody, is just finding that thing that, you know, helps you out throughout the week.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely are big advocates for, you know, getting some good exercise, get some good quality sunlight. I know when Cam and I were pharmacy school, I mean, there were some kids that were like the color of my shelves and stuff back here. I was like, dude, go outside, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
You need some of that D.
Yeah, you need to go.
Vitamin D.
You know, get some good sunlight, get some good exercise, have a good meal. You know, take care of yourself, treat yourself. Like, even if it's a spa day or something. We were even advocating when we were in school. They're like, if you do go to the doctor one day, it's like, it's one of those things some people hate, you know, like going to the dentist or whatever. But then make the rest of the day about taking care of yourself. Take the day off work if you can. Go get a massage. You know, really take care of yourself. So it kind of makes the difficulty of going to see that doctor or whatever, if you're anticipating some kind of results, it makes it less difficult. And then you're also taking care of yourself, which is restoring your mental health and showing you that you love you.
It's important.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, you got to treat yourself and love yourself more than anybody else, because, you know, like in business or anything, like nobody's going to want it as much as you, right? Mm-hmm. So like, I'm sure with you guys podcasts, like nobody's going to, we want you to succeed. It's great, but like nobody wants it as much as you three guys sitting right there. And the same thing with us. Like, we can't expect people to want it more than us. And that's across the board with health, mental health, you know, just overall wellness is just like really taking care of yourself, taking care of your projects, and just like really, you know, showing some pride. And again, it kind of all comes back to when you're healthy, when you're happy, you're there for your family, and your family will get so much more of a robust relationship out of you and you out of them when everybody's happier and healthier.
Mm-hmm. I think something like this podcast is definitely something that I desperately needed and didn't know that I needed. And I think more than the fact that exactly what it is, I think it's the fact that I have a creative output. The fact that I have a place, whether it's telling a stupid dad joke or whatever we're doing or who we're interviewing or what we're talking about, it's something that, I don't know, it gives me something to contribute to, you know what I mean? And that, whether it's, you know, we only get our, you know, few hundred viewers here and there, that's fine. You know, it matters to them. That's all, you know what I mean? That's good enough. That's good enough for me. So, and it's, I don't know, it's very therapeutic to be on this. I look forward to it. Even like I told Big Rig, I believe, off the air last week, even on days that I've just had really long, stressful days, and I know I've got this at the end of the day, and there's a part of me that's like, man, I don't want to interview or do any of this. I don't want to do anything tonight. The second I get on here and I start doing it, that stuff goes away, and I'm having a great time. So I think that's, you know, that's something.
Oh, yeah. That's fucking huge. Like, I thought a lot of people, especially in our time now, we kind of lost that. It's always about work. It's always about the next thing we have to do, a next responsibility we have to carry around. And we kind of forget that we need that enjoyment. We need that outlet for ourselves. Yeah. And it's also a big sign. If you start noticing that those things you used to like, you don't find enjoyment in, you know, playing video games, doing your podcast, hanging out with your friends. If you start not liking that, it's definitely time to kind of take an inner look and talk to somebody. Because that's when things get a little more serious, is when you're not finding that joy in life anymore, because it's everywhere. And something, especially in our country, we don't get a lot of people kind of stay in their same little area. They don't get out of that lane. But once you get out of that lane, you kind of see, you know, maybe see the next town over, see the world, see the next city. You kind of notice like, oh shit, like things could be way different. I kind of can appreciate what I have now and kind of focus back in on yourself and your life. And that's kind of where you get to nurture and grow, you know, yourself, your family, your relationships, your boys, you know, always doing it for the boys.
That's for me. I take myself camping. I'll go on camping, fishing trips by myself. And that's kind of my, like, self-reflection period, I guess. And I'm not saying it's for everybody, but sure as hell works for me.
I go to WrestleMania every year.
There you go.
That definitely
is so much fun.
It's definitely not really a midlife crisis, but something I've started doing that I don't think me stopping anytime soon. So.
Well,
No,
you
that's-
have worn a different wrestling T-shirt how many days in a row now?
Today is day 516, I believe.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know if
so-
you guys know wrestling T-shirt guy.
They've sent a few likes, I believe, on I want to say
Okay.
Instagram.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
You are
I've-
aware. Okay.
yeah. A lot of wrestling T-shirts, very impressive collection, and
Yeah, man.
I think if my girlfriend knew that there was somebody out there with more wrestling T-shirts than me, she might faint because she's just like, dude, what do you do?
Do you get you
I
get the
I go
crates?
no, I just I go to wrestling events and I buy a shirt.
Okay. Hell
I
yeah.
don't go on a binge, there's a sale on pro wrestling tees or something. I just go on a binge and buy them. You know.
Same. Yeah, we're I have a older daughter that lives in Chicago, and we're gonna go pick her up in June. And Big Rig's rolling with me. We're gonna go up to Chicago for lunch. But all we can talk about is the fact that we need to place an order at Pro Wrestling Tees because we can avoid the shipping and pick it up in person. You know?
Oh, that'd be cool.
How's a T-shirt $30 and shipping's $15.95?
Yeah. I'm here to collect that $15.95.
Yeah, they get you on the shipping. So
yeah,
guys,
I'm excited for that too. That'll be an awesome little dad trip. Pumped for that.
Yeah. What's your favorite wrestling trip that you guys have taken?
Ooh. Me, dude, I've been to a lot of different stuff, man. But WrestleMania this past year in Los Angeles, we flew out and then we drove back. That trip, and seeing just how big this world really is, and me just being in America, you know what I mean? This place is so big, and to see, you kind of touched on it earlier, that all these people live all these lives, and to kind of absorb that and then focus on yourself. You know, it was kind of definitely a self-respected trip. I don't know what I'm looking for here, but it was very introspective to see all these people. All these people have all these lives and wants and needs and worries, and none of it really affects me. You know what I mean? And that's it's interesting, man. It really is.
The aluminum and the rocks didn't get you, so.
Let's just touch on how once you see the desert, how magnificent that motherfucker is. It's hot, it's dry, but it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
You have to go to the Grand Canyon. He's standing on the Grand Canyon with a big picture. I'm so jealous. We have Red River Gorge here in Kentucky, and I mean, to me, it's breathtaking. It's big, vast, open valleys and steep, rocks and stuff like that. But the Grand Canyon is just something completely different, and I'm so jealous that you got to take that trip. And it's no fair that we let him go first when we're telling stories, because he's got way better travel stories than we got.
Don't worry, we're going to Detroit in August for SummerSlam, and then we're going to Philadelphia next year for WrestleMania all together. So
hopefully you guys aren't driving, because once you get to Detroit, them rims are gone, boy.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm not too worried about Detroit, but I just saw a documentary on Philadelphia that's got me concernicus.
Really? I went there a couple years ago.
Yeah. I was there. Do you mind if I go full heel on Philadelphia?
Please.
For it.
So I was there for a wedding in 2021. I was there for a wedding in 2021. And let me tell you, it is one of the biggest dumps I have ever been in. We stayed in a five-star hotel, and right across the street in the park, there were people shooting heroin.
Oh my God.
That's it. I guess that's not full heel. I could say way worse, but it's what a shithole. I'm I will never go back there.
That's crazy, because I had the complete opposite experience when I went to Philly. It was a beautiful, now granted, we only spent the day there, but it was a beautiful day out. We walked around, we went to Gino's and Pat's and had side-by-side comparison, ran the art museum stairs, pictures with Rocky, the Liberty Bell. I mean, great experience, and that's unfortunate that yours was not the same.
I'm gonna hope
maybe I'll give it another chance.
Where are you guys located state-wise? I mean,
Tampa, Florida.
That just means we need to plan the next Florida trip. We need to come see you guys. We'll go see
Hogan country.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, as long as it's not the raining season or something, it's not too bad. I'll tell you what, the heat. fucking horrible, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
At least it rains every day.
Mike, what would you say? Mike, what would you say your favorite trip was?
Man, I've only been as far as like Dayton, so I mean the Dayton trips have been
the revolver shows have been
the revolver
awesome.
shows. That's as far as I've really traveled. That's what 50 miles, but still, to me those have been the best.
Those have been a really cool experience.
I don't have any cool travel stories. I don't
You
travel
gotta
a lot.
get this man's out.
Yet.
Yeah,
What's the
furthest
revolver?
I went for wrestling was South Bend, Indiana, for a Warrior Wrestling show. And I took that trip with my daughter. We drove up there like 4.5 hours, got a hotel. But that was just a really cool trip overall because, the wrestling was amazing. And I got to watch Will Ospreay and Blake Christian like tear the house down in like 100-seat venue, you know? Like,
Hey, and you saw Ospreay?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh, you dirty bird.
I
He
got a
sent me a
with
picture.
him.
I'm
I
like,
didn't
is that
send you
Will Ospreay? He's like, yep. He's just.
Don't worry, I'll send it to
Wow.
you.
That's pretty awesome.
But it was cool sharing that with my daughter. She's a huge Thunder Rosa fan, and Thunder was there. And she actually had remembered my daughter from a previous event, which that was a really cool moment. You know, her taking pictures, and I think she was on her vlog and all kinds of stuff. And then the following day, being in South Bend, we went and walked around Notre Dame's campus, and Notre Dame holds a very special place in my heart due to my grandparents on my dad's side were the biggest Notre Dame fans on planet Earth, and that was the first time I had really been able to visit, and being able to visit with her was just a really cool moment. So it was just a really cool trip all around.
And that's awesome. Yeah. This isn't probably the best wrestling trip I've ever been on. Probably one of the most awesome. We saw, me and a couple buddies went to Daytona Beach, which is across the state from us,
Bluetooth
where in the same building that Hulk Hogan turned heel.
Connected.
Really?
And we saw Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi wrestle as the Golden Lovers.
Oh, I love Golden Lovers.
Me too. I can't get enough. I can't wait till Kota comes back. But they wrestled.
It's happening. It's happening.
Oh yeah, they wrestled Naito and Takahashi, I think.
Oh.
Crazy tag match. But the best part about it was that in the pre-show, before it went live, we were introduced to Michael Nakazawa and his love for baby oil.
Oh God!
And if you guys have never seen this, Nakazawa is probably different now in AEW, but I guess his gimmick in Japan was like this weird baby oil guy, and so it was like the first time we'd ever seen this guy like wrapped his arms around Nakazawa. He reaches into his briefs and just starts pouring baby oil all over himself, and then like slips out of the hold. And I was like losing it. I was like, who is this guy?
Can't catch the oily guy.
And he just like oiled himself up the entire match. Like every comeback was like had to do with baby oil. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Why is he not on national TV? Like I would watch him every week. And sure enough,
this next show that we're going to, we get to see, say his name for me, guys. I can't ever say it.
Konosuke Takeshita.
He's coming to show up at Revolver. And I'm telling you, I'm pretty excited for that. We've actually got quite a huge card for that. If you guys haven't checked it out, man, they have their shows on I believe it's the Fight app, right?
Yes, they're on Fight Plus.
You're on Fight Plus. If you want to check it out, we're actually going to be there live and in person June 17th, I believe.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Father's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Nice. Y'all ever have the cheese come up there?
Not yet. I love the cheese.
We had him on the show.
The cheddar weight.
The cheese is the man.
Yeah, we had him on the show, but never had him up here. We need to get him up here.
Yes, we might have to go caravan the cheese up there. Oh,
he's got the fucking plush dog.
Oh, yeah.
We got to throw our boy Cheese at. He's out there, man.
Oh yeah,
Cheese is here in spirit.
This weekend we're going to go see Cheese and Jay Lethal wrestle against
Lethal Cheese.
Lethal Cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we need to. I keep trying to find one of our places up here to book him. I was like, look, dude, I already told him the last time we had it on the show, like, you can sleep on my couch. You can sleep in my wrestling room. You know what I mean? We'll get you, like, you don't even got to pay for lodging. We'll just get you up here. We'll get you booked, make you some money, send you home.
That's awesome. We'll drive him up there. We've been, so this is like, I guess we'll just put it out there because it's going to happen. But we were talking to Cheese about having like a local Men's Health Unscripted championship, and we're working on commissioning a title.
There you go.
And, Cheese may or may not be the inaugural champion. We'll see what happens with the booking.
Yeah,
I would,
You know,
I would say that'd be the smart way to put asses in seats.
Are you going the way of WWE and smacking that logo of yours right smack dab in the middle of it?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one's a beaut, though.
oh yeah.
That one deserves to be front and center on a belt.
Where
Oh, yeah, and
it's
it
going to
makes
be
sense.
like hog right there in your face,
Yep.
Right in your face.
right here, right there.
Big
That's
old
awesome.
thick microphone.
But I think that was just, it's a great way to promote the podcast. And then I think that, you know, the process is we're going to figure out something like Ring of Honor. You have to shake hands before the match, heel or face, doesn't matter. And we're going to think of something as far as what to do for Men's Health. So it may be like just taking a huge big inhale through the nose and sigh, exhale to kind of relax your body, enjoy the wrestling match. Doesn't have to be that. We're just kind of working on like what are some healthy ways to reduce stress before the match and
Check
to
each
help.
other's prostate.
Hell yeah.
We can.
Some other people
I was thinking about that,
Lord.
but I'm like, I don't know if that go over at an indie show.
Yeah, everybody in the crowd, like it'd be like one of those things like, hey, everybody in the crowd, everybody's prostate's good. The match can finally start. Okay.
Right. I mean, you might be able to pull that off at like a GCW show or something like that, but that's really about it.
Everyone get in a circle.
Everybody get in line. We're going to human centipede check the prostate.
Check the prostate.
And cough.
There's like a model on stage. This is what you're going to look for.
Right.
Oh, that might be it. Just like have like the match cards, and it's just like enlarged prostate, normal prostate.
Bro, that's
prostate.
That might be. The
that's
key.
it.
Couple of ring guys. Just
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We just get.
I have a Borat thong and will wear it. Just saying.
That'd be it right there.
Why aren't you wearing it right now?
we won't let
Gotta have
him.
the wrestling shirt on.
That's fair. Are you wearing it under the wrestling shirt?
I wish. I didn't think
I
I
don't
would need
know.
it for this, but
You never know when you're gonna need
Extra
it.
that thong kini thing was like aware of how popular that shit was going to be after that movie, because like there were dudes in the military who had that shit and were just like wearing it around. Like it was everybody's jam.
Just going around. This nice.
It was very good. Great
that's
success.
nice.
Very-
Well, see, that's the thing. That movie came out before social media got like really, really big, and it was like that and Step Brother. Like we just like quoted that shit at each other. Like that
Yep.
was sending a meme or a reel or a TikTok. Like you just memorized those movies and would quote them at each other all day long, and that was the funny thing you had for the day.
It's real live fucking memes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, but like the weight of that movie, like cannot be understated, because like we would practice talking like that, like in service, and then when we went overseas, that's how I would talk to like the locals. I'd be like, "Where are your people? I know you have the bombs, you sneaky assholes."
Your sister, number 4 prostitute, and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's kind of. So you have nicest go to buttholes as big as a wizard sleeve. I'm sure they had no idea what the fuck was going on, but like it's how we talk to them. And
They all
My
think
wife-
we're crazy.
my
I have
wife
no
at
idea
home.
why they hate America.
Her voice get deep. Borat.
Well, nice.
easier than one day he got and he get it.
He gets it.
Great success.
I can only imagine like years later they watch it and they're like, I think that guy was trolling us.
They probably did. Let's be honest. Like with the way the country was evacuated, like they probably like found hard drives that was left behind, plugged that shit into their like 1998 Dell laptop thing, and immediately started playing videos off that shit. And aside from like the massive amount of porn that they found, they probably saw this movie and was like, motherfucker, I remember this guy talking to me about this shit. This is bullshit.
My sister she's the second best prostitute.
Second best, not fourth. No idea what he was
Checking
talking about.
prostates. Speaking of checking prostates, do you know how you can identify a proctologist?
Oh,
gosh.
He's the doctor wearing the wristwatch above his elbow.
Oh, gross. You figure he'd just take his watch off.
Or just like wear it on the other arm. But maybe he's
Oh,
ambidextrous.
Yeah.
What if he's got to go in both-handed? You don't know.
You
Yeah.
never know.
I don't know what proctology consists of. God, I hope I never do.
Since we're there, I got a dad joke for you guys. My dog has decided to join the Mexican wrestling circuit.
Yeah.
He wants to become a puchador.
Okay,
Oh,
so
man,
I don't have
that's
a dad joke, but I do have a Seinfeld reference. Did any of you ever watch Seinfeld?
Oh yeah.
Big
Oh,
Seinfeld
yeah.
fans. Okay, when Kramer gets the car with the license plate that says "ass guy,"
Yeah.
and then pulls into the doctor's parking spot, and he's like, "Oh, I'm the new proctologist," and they're like, "Oh, okay, sir," and like that's how he gets the reserved parking at the hospital. That was one of my favorite Kramer jokes ever. Anyway,
That's funny. We love the Curb Your Enthusiasm, the doctor versus the pharmacist
Yes.
skit. It's like, well, my doctor said this, and it's like, well, he's a pharmacist. He kind of deals with this all the time, and it's like this back and forth with the doctor and the pharmacist. And I don't know, Cam's more in that like type of retail setting. Do you get a lot of pushback from the docs?
No, all the time. And unfortunately, going on a professional soapbox here, our profession's kind of full of pussies, so they kind of just okay, and they won't argue. But I don't know, like sometimes you have to argue some of this shit, like when it comes to patient safety, when it comes to like when you see actual errors being made, like something needs to happen because worse problems happen to the patient, and then now it's going to fall on top of everybody.
That actually happened to me. Luckily, I had a good pharmacist because the doctor that I took my daughter to prescribed her, I can't remember the amount, but it was like an absurd amount of antibiotics that a 6-year-old never should have taken ever. And they were like, yeah, this is wrong. Like, we're going to give her the normal amount that a 6-year-old gets. They wrote this very incorrectly. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you for noticing. So, yeah, doctor's not always right, kids. Listen to the pharmacist.
Yeah,
Thanks for not overdosing my child.
Yeah.
Doctors are great. They do know like a lot of diagnosing and like more so like sometimes root cause and can kind of determine what's going on. But when it comes to dosing, medication, all that stuff, we're the guys. Pharmacists are the guys, and we're not only advocates for men's health, but we also advocate for the profession of pharmacy. Just because, kind of piggybacking off of what Cam said, there's a lot of softies in our profession. And it's important that we advocate for our patients just because it's, there's a safety concern there. And, medications, no matter how benign, I mean, you can overdose on vitamin A, guys. I mean,
Right.
You can overdose on anything. So it's something to be very aware of that, if something's not right, you can always ask the pharmacist. And kind of our last professional soapbox is like, guys, it's not the pharmacy that's making you wait 45 minutes or an hour when you come pick up your meds. They're checking, your medication. They're making sure things are safe. They're making sure that everything in the bottle is correct. And then they might even be calling your physician's office to get a dosing change or they notice something wrong. So those 45 minutes to an hour, they're taking care of you. It's not just like, oh, slap a label. I'm not in the retail setting, but I deal with doctors a lot. And I'm like, hey, man, I had a doctor the other day and he prescribed something to one of my patients. I was like, I'm not really sure they've called it that since 1980 something. Yeah. Maybe we need a new medication. Yeah. There are better medications out there.
What do you prescribe, heroin?
I will say on that thing, my first actual time touching medications, well, I guess not actual, in the hospital setting, we'll say hospital setting, was cocaine. So that was cool. Yeah.
You got ghosts in your blood. Do cocaine about it.
I gotta take it out of the machine. I was like, yo, this is pretty fucking tight. It was expired, and I was like, oh, I'm sure.
I didn't really do this. So when you guys said there's a lot of softies in your business, are you guys like the road warriors of pharmacy?
I think so.
What a rush!
I would like
have some drugs.
We kill. We find allergies, and we confirm.
I always thought,
because like at least every day, I'll get something that comes every workday. I'll get something that comes in, and the patient has an allergy to this. So then I'll call the patient, call the doctor, and if I call the patient, they're like, "Yeah, I get anaphylaxis," and I'm like, "Oh, so you will fucking die? Yeah, let's not give you this." And then we have to figure this thing out. Like sometimes it does go to a back and forth with the medical team, and that's a pain in the ass. But it's like, let's not give him what's going to kill him. Like I think step one, not killing him is pretty good.
Now, see, I always thought it took like 45 minutes to an hour to get a prescription because you guys were like set the bottle in the corner, like trying to hit jump shots from like 20 feet out.
Oh, I would. I'd be a lot better at that.
That's only on a casual Friday.
Right.
But just the profession of pharmacy, I would say we are kind of road warriors. We're road warriors for men's health, road warriors for pharmacy. But we just feel like people do better when the healthcare team actually works as a team. So I think Cam and I will both say, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but he'll probably agree, is like, we don't know everything. Your doctor doesn't know anything. The nurse doesn't know everything. But the whole team together is a really good comprehensive unit. It's just like a team in anything else. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's like, it sounds cliche, but it's really truthful. So if you guys can get your pharmacist involved with your doc and like really get a good relationship there, it makes all the difference in the world and just how your healthcare is handled too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially with
that's something I've never actually thought of, like, because our pharmacy's here just like in the grocery store and stuff, so I always just think like, oh, I just go and this is where I get my medication, and then they always do that, like, do you have any questions? And I'm like, no, when really I probably should ask questions, because the last like 3 medications that I've been on for I have ADD that I was taking medication for, I don't take it any longer because I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I probably should have asked questions to my pharmacist. So thank you for enlightening me.
Oh yeah, don't be afraid to ask them stuff. Like it can be super personal sometimes. It can not be personal. Like there is an area designated to take you aside. So if you have something personal, be like, oh, like a consultation, in private, and they'll be able to pull you off to the side. So you're not saying it in front of the line. You're not saying it by, the drink counter or wherever it may be at. You can have a bit more one-to-one talk. So you're like, yo, I was taking this shit and I can't stop shitting my pants. They'll be like, oh, we can figure this out.
I mean, that's honestly asking a question and getting counseled on a medication is not the worst thing that happens. Like, I've had an old lady come into the pharmacy back in the day and like just open up her eye and be like, hey, is this pink eye? And it's like oozing, and you're like, no, go. You need to go to get that shit checked.
In the doctor's office.
Yeah. Like, hey, what's this rash?
My God.
You guys ever seen a rash like this? It's like, no, there's an urgent care down the street.
Yeah. That happens all
normal.
Is
that bump supposed to be there?
A coincidence is when I was an intern. So when you're an intern, you work under a pharmacist, but you still wear the lab coat and things like that. I had just did a presentation on a like at-home prostate cancer test kit, and Pat can attest my presentation skills, like especially in person, be blowing backs left and right. But so I had just given this presentation. This lady calls, and she's a regular at the pharmacy I was at. She calls all the time. This is my first time interacting with her, and she's like, Cameron, do I have cancer? And I was like, how the fuck would I know? So, putting on the professional hat, and like, what kind of symptoms you have, what are you having? And she's going down this kind of list of stuff, and it's sounding like the shit in my presentation. I'm like, damn, fuck. So I started kind of talking to her about the kits and whatnot. Sure shit is enough. She goes to her doctor. She had prostate cancer. Or not prostate, colon cancer. Did I say prostate earlier?
Yeah.
I meant colon cancer. It's a colon cancer. It's called Cologuard. It's not Cologuard. I don't remember the name of it, but it's a colon cancer test that you take at home. And she nailed it. And then I was like her favorite fucking person from then on.
I was like, damn, Cam had a lady with prostate cancer? That's new.
I'm wrapped up in the prostate.
It's 2023, fellas.
Hey, ladies can have prostates too if they want.
That warning does come up. Like, I've had it a few times where it's like a medication that could affect your prostate, and it's a female patient, and it's like prostate warning. And I'm like, I don't fucking think so. Then I'm like, you know what?
That's like they ask you what if you're pregnant when you're a man. Sometimes, like, no, I'm not pregnant.
Just like,
I'm not breastfeeding.
Like, you sure?
I'm a little tender.
I don't know.
I didn't have my period. So I don't know.
I thought so the other day, but turns out I just had a really big poop. So
feel great now.
8 pounds, 6 ounces.
Like a rash to you?
Cancel the gender reveal. I just had to shit.
Aw.
Man, I gotta say it while I'm thinking it. It's completely off topic, but Patrick, man, you look so much like Ryan Reynolds with a beard. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that before. I was sitting here this whole time like, that's Ryan Reynolds with a beard. This whole time.
That is far off. That's a nice compliment. I'd love to play.
He's like, thank you.
Yeah.
Look at him. So much better now. See?
Yeah. Hey, honey, guess what?
Hey, I'm
just got
cool
compared
now.
to Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
Just saying, man.
I don't think I've ever had a celebrity comparison, so that is very flattering. Thank you.
Pop this cherry.
And and I'm gonna walk around. That gives me a full excuse from I saw Deadpool 2 was kind of on TV in the background. I'm gonna walk around all night, shirt cocking it.
Straight shirt cocking it.
Oh, fuck.
Winnie the Pooh. Oh my god.
I'm a big Porky Pig guy.
Oh.
I'm gonna go to bed like that. Be like, hey babe, I'm getting into bed. She'll be like, take your shirt off. I'm like, no. I'm shirt cocking it all night.
Shirt cocking it all night.
All night long.
Oh,
That's what you're doing? Just shirt cocking it all over the apartment?
Hashtag shirt cocking. Oh my god.
God, it's such a good movie.
There's been some interesting things in this particular conversation tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys this went the way you guys thought it was going to, but
well, I mean, to be fair,
I could have hoped
unscripted.
Yeah, and this is why we go live, is because we actually enjoy this kind of from the hip. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what we're going to talk about, but it's always kind of enjoyable. So,
to be fair,
honest, it's always good to keep throwing those hooks because then it keeps people drawn in, keeps them on that dial.
Yeah,
I feel like this has been one of our best episodes in a while, man. I really enjoyed that we've got to bring up some important stuff, and I think that it's cool that we addressed it in a positive, fun way as well. You know what I mean? I think it's something that is desperately needed.
Thank you.
That's pretty much our stick right there. Is no one wants to sit in the doctor's office. No one wants to sit in a weird room and talk to a guy about things. But if you can, talk about some wrestling, talk about some cars, bullshit about this thing, make some jokes here and there, but then also still get that meat and potatoes, that's what the men need. That's what
now that we've talked about all this stuff, how are your meat and potatoes?
They say it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, I think something that sets us apart, and I could be wrong, but there's a lot of people on the internet that are telling you how you should live, what you should eat, what you should, and frankly, like some of those things, great, it works for some people, some doesn't. What we like to do is, instead of the old dangle the carrot method where they're just dangling you along, here's the next tip, here's the next tip, here's the next tip, we try to just dump all the carrots on the table. You pick the ones that you like, see if they work for you. If not, put them back and get another one. Mm-hmm. And I think that, that our audience has been so receptive to it, because we're not telling people, we're just, hey, here's a new option here's new treatments for erectile dysfunction. Here's new treatments for, preventative heart treatment or something like that. It's like, here are things that have shown some science to work. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, we can help you find something else. And so, we had a discussion, I think what our last podcast was with a physical therapist, and Cam and I don't know PT like he does. He's got his own doctorate and his own separate, set of things, but we learned so much just talking to him. I think we learned a ton just off the podcast. We've had relationship experts, sex therapist, Dr. Tara is great. If you guys ever get a chance, shameless plug on Dr. Tara.
Yeah.
Beautiful lady, and she will just come out on Instagram and be like, lick our nipples. And you're just like, yes.
We'll do that.
Yeah, she is straight.
I would never do that.
Babe, the doctor told me to. Doctor told her.
I think she's...
The pharmacist says I need to check out this video.
Yeah.
My personal pharmacist.
Yeah, we're your personal pharmacist, man. But yeah, she's...
That sounds shady.
It does. We didn't say street.
I already have my own personal pharmacist. That's another thing.
But they still sound shady within the last 10 years. Definitely still shady with or without the streets.
Yeah. But she is like shameless. It's amazing. What she's done for, I would say, partly women's empowerment, but just more so like sex education, and because she talks about men's stuff too. But she's just very empowering, to a lot of women, but also is very educational and is like, I mean, how many of you guys really had good sex education when you were a kid? It was like some guy that probably hadn't.
I went to Catholic school, so I had none.
Okay. There you go. But it's like
Just don't do it,
buddy.
I had some guy that probably hadn't
Squiggly
seen his
lines.
dick in like 6 to 10 years, and he was showing everybody how to put a condom on a banana, and it was like, what are we doing? You know
He
what
had
I
a
mean?
dicky do.
Yeah. So, so just finding good people that provide good education is something that we take a lot of pride in. And if it works for you, good. If it doesn't, that's cool too. We just want people to, if you take one step to being healthier, that's, more than no steps.
Something's better than nothing. And I think, like you said, hearing it from some crotchety old man or whoever it may be, is one thing. But when hearing it from guys like yourselves, you guys are charismatic and, tell it in, an enlightened way, it makes it a lot easier to hear and take in and, and dare I say, takes more serious.
We appreciate that.
That's the goal.
We definitely do. Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, is just like provide people some education. And a lot of what we do with Men's Health Unscripted is we point people in the right direction of resources. So they'll hit us in the DMs and they'll be like, hey, I got this issue. I think the craziest one I think so far is like, hey, my kid's girlfriend won't let him see their kid, which I think is horrible.
Yeah.
For the most part, seems like a good dad. I mean, I don't know him, but they're like, could you help us find some resources for this? And I was like, well, I know an attorney who does this stuff, so I'll just give you his number.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was like, damn, we're like Morgan and Morgan now. You guys have Morgan and Morgan?
Why are you sending me pictures of Ryan Reynolds?
Just so you know what I'm talking about.
That's what I've been laughing about.
I know what Ryan Reynolds look like.
I'm just saying. Where's my camera? Just saying. Just saying. Same
That's
guy.
him. Put some glasses on him.
Fucking got some crush on Pat over here.
Oh shit.
The feeling's mutual. I'm crushing hard. I'm crushing hard for the DWO.
Oh man, there you
All
go.
right.
We definitely got to have you guys back on here. It's been a blast. I know we originally only planned to talk to you guys for a half hour and then talk about wrestling for the other half hour, but it looks to be that we have filled a whole hour. But that's because it's been a fantastic conversation, and that's exactly what we look for here.
Yep.
Well,
Absolutely.
we like to have fun, and I think the men's health world has kind of been a lot of doom and gloom, so it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, crack a little jokes.
I mean, if it helps you at all, him comparing you to Ryan Reynolds, he's our resident. Like, we share the GIF a lot of from The Hangover, where they're in the car and he's like, "We're the three best friends that anyone could have," and Cephas is our resident Alan. So you're definitely, the compliment from him is coming from an Alan. So do with that what you will.
That means even more now than it did a few minutes ago.
We have a comment from a viewer. We have a question actually for you guys.
All right.
He wants to know, how many times a day should I be checking my prostate? I'm not sure if my average 3 is enough.
Well, it depends on if you like it or not. If you're liking it, do you? If you're doing it for medical reasons, probably just once.
I didn't know once a day might be a little much. I mean,
yeah, once a
3
day.
times a day, huh?
What is like the is there like a certain age that needs to be checked? Like, is it like the dreaded colonoscopy thing at 50? Is it something at a certain age you need to start looking into, or is it just?
I'll put a lot of your listeners to rest. What you can do is, in your blood work, there's an extra test called the PSA. That is the prostate-specific antigen. And so instead of getting the good old-fashioned, which some of us would pay a little extra money for,
for our audio listeners, can you describe what you just did?
So that's 2 fingers. It's the called the digital rectal exam.
Yes.
Stifler.
That is the good old-fashioned. And so, yes, I would pay extra for that. But around,
Cam, I got yes.
Around, I said.
It's a good movie too.
Dude, oh my God, he hooks up with the medical student. Oh,
she's
yes,
like,
go
"You want
ahead.
to use how many fingers?"
You wanna use how many fingers? Did I say 2? Better make it 3.
Better make it 3.
Such a Ryan Reynolds thing to say.
Yeah, you guys can can get it checked through a blood exam. And the
That's
first
awesome.
one will be like, I think it's the first 1 or 2. It starts at like late 30s, early 40s, depending up to 50s, depending on family history and other factors. But generally around 40, 45 is when guys start getting it checked. You get your first 1 or 2. It sets what we call a baseline. And then after that, when you get checked every year, you can determine like if it's going up at a certain pace. It could be BPH, which is benign prostate hyperplasia, where your prostate grows and it gets really tough to pee. If it grows really fast, it could be prostate cancer. So the good news, I guess, about prostate cancer for the most part is it's a very slow growing cancer. So if you're on it once a year, a lot of times your physician or urologist would go on a watch and wait approach, and it would, they would try to modify your diet or lifestyle to a little bit more of an anti-inflammatory diet or lifestyle. Otherwise, if they see it starting to advance, then they would have to kind of take it into more serious procedures and things like that. Mm-hmm. But with prostate cancer and stuff, it's a little safer, I guess, for lack of a better term, than like testicular cancer, which we kind of talked a little bit about off camera, where it hits you, it grows fast, and I mean, before you know it, you're stage 3, and they're lopping at least one of your balls off. So if you feel a weird lump or anything like that, if you guys have any questions, you can slide into our DMs. We'll get you some resources for how to check your nuts. Mostly just do it in the shower. You can do it yourself. You can have a friend help. I had a friend help.
The friend would also have to know your nuts, though. So you can't just have like a rando checking them, because they will feel new to him. You got to have somebody that knows your nuts. Like, yo, this lefty feels a little different, homie. And then you're like, thanks, my guy.
So Damn, this is my guy, then.
Or your wife.
Oh, yeah, that's
So I shouldn't have asked my neighbor.
No, see, this is definitely my guy.
It comes quick. So, like, my friend who had it, he says, like, he just woke up one day and it was the size of, like, a tangerine. So, like, the day prior, didn't notice any changes. Next day, boom, fucking orange in his damn sack. So,
guys, this is what I'm not just tooting your horn because you guys are here, but this is what Men's Health needs, man. I feel like I feel like you guys would be, I don't know if you're on TikTok yet, but I feel like you guys would be great with little reels that just talk about shit, and that honest, here's how the fuck it is. You know what I mean? And I feel like you guys could really excel from some reels, man. You guys make some good content as it is. I feel like that would be something a logical, huge step for you guys to move into.
So I'll go back to the being a horny cult thing. Where So on TikTok, I just make videos of something I like to call. We are on TikTok. Okay. But it's pretty much me making my smoothie every day. I make a smoothie called Daddy Juice out of beets, celery, and watermelon.
I like the sound of that.
Right. And let me tell you guys, it gives you a boost. The beets will, so everything in this is designed to promote blood flow. So the beets, they
use those wrinkles in your mind, folks.
And so so if you don't know, your boner actually isn't a bone; it's a bunch of blood vessels. And so when you take, like, when you have foods that have like high nitric oxide component, celery has a lot of zinc salts and other really good like trace metals and things for us. And the watermelon rind has L-citrulline, L-arginine, and those convert to NO in your bloodstream as well. So those dilate your blood vessels as they make them bigger, which allows more blood to flow to the very special places of your body. And also just having good blood flow and good blood pressure, it's good for your heart. Your erections are a really great barometer for your health. So if you're having morning wood, it doesn't have to be every day, but if you're having morning wood, if you're getting like, spontaneous erections once in a while, things like that, generally it's a pretty good sign of your heart health. Now, if you've lost the ability to get an erection outside of like a mental health thing or, something like that, it's probably time to get your heart checked out as well, because the vessels that lead to your penis are very similar in, not size, like the ones in your heart are a lot bigger, but similar in structure. So if your heart is getting clogged, chances are the vessels around your penis are getting clogged. So that's why, the Men's Health guys are always preaching healthy erections, because if you got a healthy erection, you got a healthy heart.
So when my wife yells at me for being in the bathroom too long, I'm like, I'm just checking my heart, honey.
Yep.
Exactly.
I'm here for that.
Play that off as your daily health check.
Yeah. You care to share this recipe with us? I mean, you can just send it to us later, and we'll post it.
Yeah, I'll share it with you guys. I'll actually.
We'll be more than happy to share daddy juice with the world.
So we've got on. So if you, shameless plug here. If you go to the website and it's menshealthunscripted.com, and you fill out your email in the front screen, it will automatically trigger an email comes back to you with our 3 smoothie guides. So one of them is daddy juice. The other one is an immunity booster. So a lot of vitamin C, healthy vitamins, things like that to help boost your immunity. And the other one is anti-inflammatory. I call it like an anti-inflammatory bomb. It's a lot of berries. So like blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, things like that. It's got a lot of antioxidants and it's very anti-inflammatory. It'll give you a nice energy boost if you're feeling kind of sluggish. So that's kind of like the fair trade for the email. We put a lot of research and work into like me personally in my pharmacy practice, I like getting people off medication. So if I can get them a little healthier, I know Cam does too, but it's a little harder in the retail setting. But if we can get people just to kind of shift, like make one dietary change and one lifestyle change, you can see a huge difference. So, I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, you have to change everything and the whole way you're eating. I think like what I tell a lot of my clients is, I had a client that had diabetes. This is like one of my proudest moments as a pharmacist, but he had diabetes. And I said, hey, anytime you feel like eating shit, like you want to eat a bunch of ice cream, you want to eat like a bunch of like cookie processed food stuff, which is all fine in moderation here once in a while, but he was eating it a lot and his A1C was pretty high. I said, anytime you feel like doing that, go eat yourself a handful of blueberries and go for a walk. And sure enough, my man did that. And in 3 months, he got his A1C down almost a full point. It was 0.9, which if you don't know anything about Big Pharma would pay trillions of dollars a year to have a drug that dropped your A1C 0.9. And I just did it with blueberries and walking. So, and then, and my client was like, hey, I didn't really feel like I did a whole lot. And those are the changes.
Nature's
that's
pretty
the best
cool, man.
kind to have. Yeah.
Right. And so that was something I was super proud of because I got somebody who had diabetes for a long time, never had an A1C below 7, and I got it below 7 in 3 months of working with me. Wow. So, and the best part is they're still doing these lifestyle things and they're not like feeling like it's a difficult change to make, which
when you see like those kind of results too, probably makes it easier to, add something else like, well, this works so well for me. And this, I gain this result, especially in men, those immediate gratification, is a lot, is got to be great. So it probably makes it easier to try other things.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you guys, I'm not even talking about health, but if you guys do something and you do something really, and you work really hard at it for 3 months, and then at the end of 3 months, like it's time to check the results and you're like, damn, this was awesome. It's going to motivate you to keep doing that. Right.
Yeah.
It's like very rarely are you like, that was awesome, but I'm going to go do something else, or that was stupid, whatever. Like usually those kind of interactions only lead to just healthier changes and, people like just generally feeling better.
Mm-hmm. Now,
can
I say one thing? Go ahead.
You're good. I'm just going to say, as someone who suffers from gut health, the antioxidants in berries, that is something I can swear to as well. It is, once I started replacing a couple meals with fresh smoothies with a lot of berries and a little bit of Greek yogurt and some probiotics, I noticed a major change to where I try to do it at least twice a week. At least once, but twice is the goal. I want to at least twice a week. I want to replace it with a smoothie. That was today. So
that's awesome.
I just wanted to. That's why I wanted him to go first. I was just gonna lobby for the mustache to come back.
So background on this is actually me and Pat on rotation, and we were probably the most reckless motherfuckers they've ever had in that office.
I love this so much.
This is front page of the website, folks.
Oh yeah.
Audio listeners, go watch the YouTube right now because you're missing out.
We had to. So on that rotation, we had a resident next door to us. He was like a resident at this office. And on the last day of the rotation, we like I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm really sorry about all the new things that you learned about the human anatomy over these past 6 weeks." And it was kind of funny because he reminded me of Data from Star Trek.
Yeah,
He was just like super pale and like rigid, dude. And when I said that, his eyes got really wide, and it was at that point I realized that Cam and I traumatized him.
Probably cannot compute.
Very stiff. He's a nice guy, but just very stiff.
Yeah, he was like.
I mean, that's almost a Borat-esque mustache right there, man.
I got nice vipers from America.
But what you probably can't tell is he's also rocking a mean mullet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he? Because it kind of looks like it.
It's all.
I can see the waterfall from here.
He's got that party tucked behind there.
I had the mullet. I was going mullet mustache, and just like the mustache
straight
rides.
Kenny Powers, huh?
Oh yeah, the mustache rides were just generous during that period of time in my life.
Fantastic.
La Flama Blanca.
La Flama Blanca. That's awesome.
We're trying to get a trip together to go to Talladega in October, and the mullet and mustache will definitely be back.
Oh hell yeah, man! Love that.
I don't think I've ever. I will say about the mullet, I've never been catcalled as a man by women more than when I had a mullet.
Oh, buddy,
really? I'm dead serious.
We're bringing in a hot mullet right now.
I love it.
I think now that you have this newfound confidence as a Ryan Reynolds impersonator, you should probably get some more cat calls.
There you go.
I haven't got it yet. When I get a "Hey Ryan" like from across the street, I'll let you know.
Just point and finger gun him.
I know, like the first day I had a mullet, I went out. I used to live in Ybor City, which is like kind of a suburb.
Oh, I know all about Ybor City.
Okay, so I used to live there. The first night I went out with the mullet, I'd say like 5 or 6 girls were like, "Hey, I love your mullet and mustache." And I'm just like, this is all I had to do.
Yeah,
like 30 some years, and this is all I had to do
is look like a guy from the 80s.
like,
dude, buddy of mine, his sister used to live in Tampa, so like every summer we'd go down there, do a friend trip, and like stay at her house and stuff. Ybor City was a freaking den of chaos, man. Every time we went down there,
you lived there.
I lived there.
Oh, like just walking down the street was like, what? Like, what is that? It was it was just, it didn't even make sense that it was near Tampa. Like, it made no sense. Like, this place should be like, I don't know, near Vegas or some shit. Like, it was wild to me.
Did you guys, somebody called it, which I thought was probably the most accurate depiction, is Chinatown for weirdos.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's about right.
I mean, I was pretty much every time I was down there, I was already fairly inebriated, but like the range of like bars and clubs down there, like you could go into a club and like not be able to hear the person sitting right next to you because the music was so loud, and then you had another place that was like, you know, a little tiny hole in the wall that had like candles lit instead of lights. You know what I mean? It was so just all over the place, and it was
Did anybody ever take you to the castle?
That I cannot remember.
He probably doesn't remember.
Yeah,
some guy named Mario did.
I think you would. I think you would know the castle. You would feel like you're in a scene from Blade.
It's like, yeah, I'd remember that.
Yeah, from Blade. Yeah, from Blade.
Blade
not
Trinity.
No,
Blade
not that one. Not that
more
one.
Specific.
I'm not plugging. I'm not plugging the Ryan Reynolds Blade.
I see what you're
the best part is one of the pictures he sent us in the group text was the one from Blade Trinity. So that was amazing.
Yeah, that's a bad movie. I don't want to be a Ryan Reynolds assistant.
Come on, Triple H was in that.
That was great. Triple H, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Triple H had the Pomeranian.
Oh, Cam disappeared.
I think we lost him.
Oh no.
Womp womp womp. Well, on that note, we're over 13 minutes over anyways. So
all right.
Give a shameless.
You'd like to plug, sir?
Sure.
Plugs?
So find us on Instagram at Men's Health Unscripted. That is probably where you will receive the majority of our content. If you want to go learn about Daddy Juice, check out TikTok. There he is.
He's back.
Mini stroke there.
We're just plugging, and then the website, www.menshealthunscripted.com. There's some good info in the blogs. You can get our podcast. And if you can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff. So we're out there. We're doing the best we can as pharmacists to get good quality information out there. But definitely IG, the website, and the podcast outlets would be the best place to get our information.
Awesome. Well, you guys got anything else, Mr. Magnificent, Cephas?
I just want to say thank you guys so much. I had no idea what to expect from this conversation. And I know we initially said 30 minutes, but it was too good to stop. So thank you guys so much. we the way you guys have put your spin on men's health, again, makes it much easier to pay attention to. So thank you guys. And if there's anything that we dads can do to further this cause, please don't hesitate to include us, because we love what you guys are selling.
We definitely appreciate all those words. Like we said in the beginning, we come out here, we shoot from the hip, we go a little buck wild on it, but it's what the people want to hear. And we definitely probably love to have you guys on for some dad stuff, because we do get a lot of questions, a lot of concerns that we're like, fuck if we know, bro. But we know some people, so we definitely need some people.
Yeah,
and Father's Day is coming up. Maybe we'll do a collaboration over on your guys' page.
We're the full spectrum. We have from adult children all the way to very little children. So we have the full spectrum of perspective.
And
that'd be awesome.
You also have married dads, single dad. Like, we're all over the joint, man.
Nice.
We can answer pretty much any question, I would hope.
No,
we a question I don't know the answer to. I'm going to be right there with you, very interested. So
the funniest dad thing was, like, we do an Ask Us Anything like once or twice a year. And so we did an Ask Us Anything, and somebody's like, got any advice for me raising my 2-year-old son? And Joe and Cam are like, none of us have kids.
We definitely try to put some information out for
them. Yeah, we did.
Here's some resources.
We were kids once, so maybe this would work.
Yeah, we just mostly it was like, hey, be supportive. If your kid doesn't like baseball, don't force them to play baseball. Mm-hmm. I coached baseball for 7 years, and I coached a lot of kids whose dads made them play, and they hated it, and they probably hated their dad for it. So there you go.
Well, that was one of the things, like with my daughter watching wrestling. I never forced her to watch it or anything like that. Like, it was something like I would watch after she went to bed, and it was the reason she got into it is I was sitting on the couch watching the Royal Rumble. It was the one right before we came back from the pandemic, and she woke up. It was like, I don't know, like 1 a.m. or something like that. Woke up, came out, and the Women's Rumble was on. And she was like, oh, my God, like, what is this? And from then on, she just gradually watched more and more with me, and now that's something that we bond over. And it's felt very organic, not like, hey, you need to watch this with me. It's, something she wants to do. So, pretty awesome.
Man, that's great.
Definitely some insight I need to get out there.
Yeah, we're definitely down for a collab. We'll shoot you guys an email. We'll get something cool set up, because you guys will be our official Father's Day podcast.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I'm down for that.
Love it.
Hey,
all right.
You know what? You've heard the rest, but the dads do it the best, baby.
That's right, baby.
Once you go dad, it ain't so bad.
Uh-oh.
Yes. That was so good. I'm using that.
I just made that up. That was horrible.
Also, feel free to use the Road Warriors of Pharmacy. Please make some sort of content out of that.
I think I can. You know what? I'll have something up tomorrow. I'll tag you guys in. I think I got a good idea.
I'm so excited.
Cam's like, oh no.
Oh god.
You had a heavy workload this week, and I'm like, this man's gonna murder himself between patients.
Yeah, this week I'm off to the races, but I got a lot done today, so we'll see. Tomorrow morning I'll wake up at like 5 and knock it out. Should have it up like 9-10 a.m. I think you guys will like it.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can't
awesome.
wait.
Yes.
Well, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. As always, we have been the DWO Podcast. I am Big Rig Eric Maffey. He has been Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. He has been Wrestling T-Shirt Guy Cephas. And our illustrious guests, Patrick Alonso and Cam Carruthers of Men's Health Unscripted. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Check out their website. These guys have been so awesome. I know I'm going to be probably I mean, I have their website up right now, so that's what I'm going to be looking at right after this.
Daddy juice.
Yeah, shameless plug there.
Yeah,
That
and
is
let
what I
us
will
know
be
how the
looking
daddy
for.
juice works. I don't need you to tell me how. I know it works, but just let me know how it works.
will
Don't
give
send
you-
pictures of it though. You know.
Yeah.
A full report.
Looks great.
I will document and do all the doctor things.
Big
And-
Rig's going to change his name to Girthquake next podcast.
All right.
No idea what you just did.
Oh, that's
You
my
guys
new
gotta
handle.
tune in the
That's my new
DWO
handle.
Starts coming up. See how the boys have grown.
That's my new handle. Mike,
That guy's
change
got a
all-
Girth certificate.
Change all the overlays right now.
Is that Girth Brooks?
Girth Brooks.
God damn it. DWO podcast. We're on everything. I'm
Shit.
apparently not Big Rig anymore. This has been Girthquake signing off. Top Cats.
Hey.